All right, welcome to our work session for Monday, November 9th, 2020. It is now 6:30 p.m. And I'm going to go ahead and get started with the committee/department reports, starting with planning and zoning. Chairwoman Lisa Newberry.
Thank you, Mayor. The first thing we have tonight is, Tim, if you want to take the podium, if there's any questions. We just have four things. First is talk about or see if you guys have any questions about the zoning ordinance amendment for the Planning and Zoning Commission. We talked about it in the previous council meetings. It's really just a housekeeping to make sure we address and know what to do if there's a vacancy. And that's in your packet, so just want to see if y'all had any questions. No? Everybody good on that? Okay. Then on Thursday, I'll be asking for a motion that we approve that that change in that ordinance. Next is the RM8 zoning that we have been talking about also in the previous council meetings. You got the our city attorney prepared the changes there that we've discussed also in the previous council meeting. So I want to see, do y'all have any questions on that? And if not, then I'll be making a motion on Thursday to make the RM8 zoning inactive.
So, and it went through the planning commission, and
it did.
And what? Any comments from them?
They approved it. They approved to make it inactive. They agreed. Yeah.
Okay.
Anything else? Okay, the next is to ask Tim to give us an update, if you would, on code enforcement.
The numbers for code enforcement from January 1st to November the 9th is 231 total cases, 16 remain open, 210 have been closed. 12 court citations was issued, and 5 are pending for court.
Okay, any questions from anyone? Okay, thank you, Tim. And the last thing I wanted to ask was, Danny, if you could come up and speak to the property that's on Tig Knight and kind of explain what the city and the county's involvement is.
Did you leave it on? Yeah. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Questions have been raised about the Tig Knight property that's currently, I believe, in rezoning for Walton County. This originally came before y'all for water and sewer because it is a area that's outside the city limits. He looked at for annexation as a possibility. A couple things with that. The annexation would create an island, so we was not going to recommend annexation unless they get some other properties involved. The water and sewer, as you all remember, we had a committee meeting, I believe, back in May of 2019. The recommendation of that committee was not to allow utilities outside the city limits, which I've told the applicant that we would not provide sewer without controlling the water, because that's how you can control the flow of sewer, is if you control the water. That is Walton County's provider for water for that area. We also told the applicant that he would have to have a letter to us from Walton County saying that they would release that territory to the city. At that time, we did not receive a letter. So I believe now he's going to Walton County to try to get that zoning. Tim, what's that current zoning called? Do you know? It's a very dense zoning, but in order for them to grant that, they must be on sewer. And I spoke with the chairman the last couple of weeks, Chairman Little, and I've told him that my orders from the city council was not to provide sewer. So I'm not sure how they're going to vote on that. But I did relay that message again to Chairman Little today. I sent him the minutes, and we do have a meeting with the applicant tomorrow. Brandon, myself. Brandon's been talking to him. I believe he was had a letter from the former director saying that, we look forward to working with you in the future, and I think he took that as that we were going to give him sewer, but that was just, I believe, Chris Yancey just saying, we would look forward to working with you. But as you all know, An employee cannot bind the city. It has to go before the city council, and y'all's orders were to not allow water and sewer. So that's where I stand. I reached out to Chairman Duvall today and asked him if that was his stance, since it was currently under Skip Lyles, was the chairman of Public Utilities, and Chairman Duvall also stated that he did not feel that we should provide utilities, and he didn't see need of having another committee meeting. So my information tomorrow to the applicant is where we still stand, and we're not going to provide utilities outside the city limits of Loganville. Any questions from you or the audience?
Okay, thank you, Danny.
Thank you.
And Mayor, that is all I have.
Thank you so much. Finance/Economic Development, Chairwoman Antos.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have 3 things on my agenda. The first thing is the Solomon Real Estate Economic Incentive Request. There's actually a handout that was put out. You should have, it's got a handwritten piece on the bottom that explains the calculations. If you look in your packet, the folks that developed the Chipotle and the Aspen Dental and the Chicken Salad Chick have requested the Economic Development Incentive at Tier 2, which means they get money back for creating new jobs, and the jobs they estimate is between 26 and 99. The total of those two, one is the 6743.75, the other one is the 9672.12, for a total of 16,415.87. Does anybody have any questions about this? No? Would everybody be okay with putting that on consent?
Second.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, then I'd like to
Consent
put that
file.
on consent. Do I need to add anything else to that? Okay, perfect. Thanks, Tim. The second thing on my list is the Code Red invoice. This is also in your packet following the Solomon Real Estate request. This is the technology that allows us to notify citizens of weather as well as announcements. It's 8,162. It is a budgeted item, right, Kyle? Any questions on that and what it does?
I have a question for Kyle. What else can this do besides weather and miscellaneous?
Can you hear me? The main thing is the severe weather. We get a lot of questions about tornado sirens when people move into town. So this is what we decided to do when the previous city manager was here. We started using this instead of investing into our tornado siren system.
Do you have to download the app for it to, or does it go?
No, you just have to sign up via the website. It's phone calls, text messages, emails, and if you have the app, it'll alert through the app too.
Kyle, is this just for people inside the city limits or anybody in Loganville?
It's everybody inside the city limits, but it depends on the municipality or the counties, whether they go with this company or not. So anybody can sign up, but they do a filtering for our notifications that are only for inside the city limits.
Okay.
Anybody have any other questions? Everybody okay with that on consent as well?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. And then, Mr. Mayor, the last thing I have, and this is also in your packet, this is the spending request for the Citizens Advisory Group survey. So the Citizens Advisory Group has come up with their set of questions, which I believe Paul handed out to you just a little bit ago. This is what it costs to get the information from the citizens. So I'll give you a little bit of background on what was decided. Qualtrics, and if you look at the option 1 and 2, which is in your packet, Qualtrics is the company that hosts the survey. So they take the questions, they put them out on the web, and then they calculate all of the responses so that they're available. Red Pepper packages the survey for the online. So it's 2 separate services. One hosts the survey, one gets it prepped and formatted and everything to be up on the web. The CAG decided, the CAG decided to get the information and provide surveys to 2 separate groups of people. One was the voter list. So all the voters in the city of Loganville can use their voter number, which is on their voter registration card, as a token to take the survey. Or any utility bill customer. We're going to put a mailing in the utility bill with a link. So you can either use your utility number or your voter number to take the survey. So the costs are as follows. And really, the bills are on different quotes are part of your packet. I believe that the CAG decided that option 1 was okay. We didn't need to do the heavier option because option 2, which is $6,000 versus $3,750. Kyle, can you put that up on the packet? That just the comparison. Are you able to do that, please? Option 2 has a whole bunch of stuff like SMS texting, emailing, and since we don't have that information from the citizens anyway, it's a little bit of overkill. The voter list we can purchase from the Secretary of State for $50. The postcard printing to the voters and the mailing and the postage is on there. Those are both static amounts. And then the water bill inserts to print and design them, it's about $250. So the difference in the options are about $12,000, $11,887.50 versus $14,137. Again, in option 2, I feel like we're paying for technology that we probably are not going to use. So with that being said, and Kyle's going to put that up, I think, even though I kind of threw it at you. I'm sorry, Kyle. I'd like to entertain any questions about the technology differences, et cetera. Yep.
My question is, for $12,000, can we look into, there's got to be grant money out there that can pay for a lot of this or offset some of this cost. Have y'all looked into that at all?
Who?
Robbie.
Robbie, are you aware of any grant money that exists for this sort of thing? Okay. Okay. Would you have time before Thursday to take a look at that and maybe have a meeting with me, or we'll have a call about it? Would that be okay? Okay. Now, I will tell you that this that this number is probably a little bit high, and I'll tell you why. If you and your husband live in the house and your kids, 2 of them are voters, technically you have 4 voters in your house. But we're not going to send 4 postcards to the house. Only 1 would go. So I have it a little bit high here so we have a not to exceed number, but I'm sure that we're not going to send 4 postcards to the same place.
So if one household has 4 voters, they can vote 4 times?
No, each voter can vote once because each voter's registration number is separate on your voter's card. And that will be in the information in the survey. So if you pulled out your voter registration card, there's a number on it.
Nobody has those handy. Nobody ever has those handy.
You can go to the My Voter page on the Secretary of State website and pull that information for yourself.
So you want, I'm confused. Are you saying you want 1 vote per household or 1 vote per citizen, per taxpayer?
One vote per voter and 1 vote for the utility, or the utility, depending on which they've got. But the CAG decided that it would not be prudent to send 4 postcards. So like Ann Hunsinger, so it would just be 1 postcard. So I'm just saying that the postage money is probably a little high and the last voter list was about 9,100, but they wanted to wait till after this presidential election to get the maximum amount of potential voters that could respond to the survey.
Okay. And can someone respond both ways?
Technically, yes. They could respond both ways.
Okay.
But once it's used, it's done.
Okay.
More questions?
Yes, I do. Start from the beginning. Because I'm just brand new to all the survey and catching up and all the packet. Start from the beginning.
Okay. Where would you like me?
Do you have a mock-up of what it's going to look like?
Not yet, because I can't get Qualtrics. Nobody will do anything, obviously, without a signed contract. And so I had a little sample, idea of what the survey would, a survey would look like. But what would happen is the CAG decided also to wait until after the election because everybody was inundated with postcards and mailers about voters. So what will happen is once we get a signed contract, if that's the direction that the council goes, the questions will be sent to Red Pepper to be packaged and uploaded to Qualtrics. So Qualtrics hosts it. Red Pepper makes it look pretty and writes it to make sure that we are not getting any preconceived notions about a vote. Then that has a period of time which has not been set deadline-wise because we didn't know when it was going to go out based on the elections. They'll have a period of time. Up until the point that somebody pushes submit. So you can log in to your phone and take the survey. If you don't press submit, then your answer is held under your token, which is either your voter number, utility number. Then at the end of the survey, when the survey closes, any partially done surveys would count towards whatever they had responded to, or completed surveys would count in total. Once they're in, then all of the council will get a feedback, and then the whole community can go to the results page and go look at it.
So the mailing comes to your house, so you and your husband, and you're on the water bill, so you get it, right?
Mhm.
And then every voter in your house can also
Could vote, yes,
vote based on their voter ID.
correct. Well, and the survey is not on paper, so you get a postcard that says, go to this link, whatever the link ends up being, right? Because tallying 10,000 surveys manpower-wise is very difficult feasibility-wise. So there were a couple of things that the CAG kicked around on how to do it. So you could do taxpayers, but the problem is taxpayer parcel numbers are available publicly. You can go to the Q Public site and get any kind of taxpayer number that you want, whereas your voter number and your utility number are private and theoretically only you would know in the house. So we know that there is a little bit potential overlap in votes, but it means we catch everybody rather than leaving any groups out.
So we're hoping that the families that have other people that vote are going to go and get their voter ID, or their voter number. They're going to take that step to do that.
Well, they would have it because you've got your voter card, and as Christy mentioned, there's a website which we can put on the postcard. The postcard, there's just a sample in here, and that's something that Red Pepper will help us do, is to make sure that postcard is thorough. But there is a website that you can go get your voter number.
And so they use their utility number like if they pay water bill.
Mhm.
The utility number would be the same thing for the whole household.
Correct.
So if it's a husband and wife, they use the same utility number.
Well, if it's a husband and wife, you could only use the utility number one time.
Okay, so on one person can use the utility number.
Correct.
And the other person has to use the voter
Correct. That's right.
registration.
That's right.
Okay. So we need to somehow make that clear, because they may think, well, if I just use my utility number, I don't have to bother to go look for the other one.
Correct. Well, and that's, if you look at I think the questions that Paul handed out, there's like a little introduction, and there will be directions on the survey that says, this is what you need to do. There is kind of a catch-22 in this process, in that financially, as finance chair, I would love to say, this is what the survey will look like and this is what the postcard will look like, but I can't put the cart before the horse and do all that work and sign contracts until you guys say, okay, yeah, we want to go this direction.
Okay, so if I understand this right, I get a postcard in the mail. Jay gets one in the mail. It's the same postcard. I go log in with my voter number.
Right.
My son does his, and we vote. We take
Correct.
the survey and vote.
That's right.
Same thing.
That's right.
Okay. And then, so what about this? Are we going to vote on this Thursday, or how does this work?
What is the
questions?
this? The what?
The questions on the survey. Is this a done deal, or does
The questions are separate. This, all I'm asking about is the money.
Okay. Okay.
The questions are only done by the CAG.
So we're not talking about questions.
No, we're just talking about the money.
Is there anything about this that we don't like?
Well, we could spend $12,000 and nothing happens.
What, is there anything about this you don't like?
I don't know what it is.
The purpose of this is to solicit feedback. Okay, look, let's just brass tacks, right? Last year, we went in a direction that clearly the community was not happy with. And one of the things we all said was, we didn't know what people really wanted. This is a quantifiable way to get actual results from the people that is limited by people that we want to hear from. It's people who live here and vote here. It is no more guessing that, oh, well, these people want X number of apartments and these people don't want any apartments. And it takes all of the guesswork out of it for us as city officials to try to figure out what our population wants. What I hope, rather than saying, what do I not like about it, what I want and what I want to see is, I want to say, hey, I can make a good decision because 80% of the population wants a brew house, or 76% of the population wants a walking trail, and 10% of the population wants a pet park. Whatever those numbers are, I don't care what the numbers are. I just want them. I want to know what they are.
You should have been more clear with the program, with the procedures that you just outlined. Anything concerning to you with those? To me, going and finding your voter ID, I think is going to be a big hiccup for a lot of people. I don't think people are going to want to do that.
Okay.
But that's what I mean. Is there anything that to you that you're like, I don't like this part of them?
Well, Jay, to me, if the citizens care enough about this survey, they're going to make the effort to find what their voter registration number is.
To be fair, the only thing that I have a concern about, and I think, Paul, I would like for you to speak more from the CAG's point of view. The only thing that I think that we're not 100% sure as the CAG how to survey is somebody who doesn't have internet. Which is why I think what you guys came up with was a catch-all email that if somebody wanted a paper survey, they would somehow figure out how to do that, get the number, and then somebody from the CAG would input that survey on their behalf. There's no perfect survey that's going to only hit the right people and not cause any duplicates. And I think that as hard as that the CAG has worked, this is a great end result.
So on the landing page, when I go to that website, can we put a link to the Secretary of State's office?
Absolutely.
And can we put something on there? A public library has internet?
If you don't know, if you don't know your... Well, and one of the things that we can do is we could do the signs that say, like on the Loganville sign, on the Loganville face page that says, want to take the survey, text 12345 to 678 like, on Fox News or whatever on the radio, it'll say, if you're interested in the sheets, text this number. We can do that, and then the survey comes here. So we have a whole bunch of options to lead people to make sure they get, because you're right. I mean, I've got my voter registration card in my purse, right? But I know a lot of people may not. So the idea is to lead everybody to the direction where they can get the information, but still have it where it's not just a wide open survey that doesn't have some token required.
Are we going to offer any support, tech support?
I know. I mean,
because someone's going to call or reach out and say, I want to change this, or I'm having trouble with this. Are we going to have anybody that?
I think.
I'm sorry. I just asked if we are going to have tech support or anybody to help should somebody have any trouble.
I mean, Paul, do you want to take that? I mean, I don't. Greg, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's good. That's good enough. I'm good. Well, you never know.
Well, in the email that's set up, that I think they decided that Paul would be getting, that if you have a question, you can go to this email. If he's willing, which I think you said you were willing to kind of monitor the Gmail, CAG survey, whatever. What we're trying to do is to create a system that is standalone enough that it doesn't have to affect Danny and Danny's staff, because we don't want everybody coming up here and going, how do I take this survey?
Well, no, but for those that don't have the internet, they're not going to have Gmail either,
right,
or an email account either.
Right.
So,
and putting it on the library, and maybe putting the library on the postcard is a good. I'm totally open to that. I don't think we've gotten that far yet.
So we're doing it.
I don't know. Is the library open now?
The library open?
Was it closed?
I think so.
Yeah.
All right, we can go. We can move on.
Paul, did you guys, Greg or Paul?
No, I mean, I just said that.
I think.
Okay, I just said that I don't think you'll need tech support. That was it.
Good. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
That'll be
questions as simple as we can so that they'll understand what we're asking. I just don't see that it's going to be that difficult for someone to take. You take surveys every day. It's a very simple process.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, Rita and Greg. I mean, I'm over here.
No, I know.
They're here. I'm so sorry. They're both here, and they've been on every meeting. So, please, any questions you have about that process, they're here to answer them. Please ask.
Yeah, one thing I would like to express is these questions have been gone over time and time and time again. And we have erased and we have added, we have subtracted, we have reworded. Unless it's a deal breaker, we would like these questions to remain as they are.
We're not there yet.
I know, but as far as, but coming up on Thursday,
Let's go to the questions, the next part.
yes. But Jay, you had mentioned about going over the questions. Is this, is it something changeable?
Yeah, that's what I want to discuss with Aaron.
Okay. So we can discuss that Thursday, or?
Yeah, I think the way the CAG did it is the CAG's questions stand as the CAG's questions. They are not, they are set.
Yeah.
I'm here about the money, not the questions.
Right.
Yes, ma'am.
So tell me this again now. So if I log in with my utility number, then I can go back and log in with my voter registration number. So if this company can figure out that voter registration number belongs to me, can they not cross somehow and say, hey,
That's
you've
a
already
great
voted?
question. So let me tell you why, from a data services perspective, that's a challenge. All right. So let's say under your I'm going to use myself as an example, right? Let's say that under my utility bill, it's under Brett Hunsinger, but my voter is under me. Okay. For them to scrub out the data, they've got to do a VLOOKUP or a duplicate function, which means somebody has to touch the data. And what I am worried about, and the CAG was worried about, is if somebody touches the data, we run the risk of dropping a citizen. You have to use, on that many utility bills plus voters, you could have a name change. I mean, I think my utility bill is still Ann Cole's because I was before I got married. So the problem is that you've got a voter registration under one name. I think you could scrub potentially some, but I do think you run the risk of keeping duplicates and scrubbing too much. It's a valid concern, and that's one reason that we got away from the property taxes. Because the property tax, originally the property tax was something that the CAG looked at in addition, but it became even harder to scrub, and then our pool got that much bigger.
Mm-hmm.
It's a valid question. It's just one of those, what is that, a Venn diagram?
Yeah, and I just wonder, on the initial response, they come back and they make a scrub, and they come back to you or to Paul, and somebody looks at it and kind of vets and goes through it and says, yeah, we eyeball this and say, yeah, we know, just kind of look at it. But I get your point, but
I
think there'll be some
personally,
abuse.
that would not be my area. That would be them. I wouldn't touch the data.
Yeah. Well, that's why I said.
And I don't know cost-wise, because this just definitely does not cover any data scrubbing.
Okay.
Are you concerned with the length of it?
I'll let them take that. That's not me.
No, we're not. We talked about that at length, and once again, I think that Linda made a good point. If you're that interested, you'll fill it out. Or if you want to fill out half of it, hell, fill out half of it. But I think that if you're that vested in the city, I think that the length is not, I think it's 40 questions, I believe, total.
I think that's what it ended up.
If that, a lot of them are really quick, do you want a city hall? Do you want this? Do you want that? I mean, they're really quick, and I don't think we talked about the length of the questions or the length of the survey as well as we talked about the questions over and over and over. And this wasn't something put together in, 2 meetings. I think it took 6. And there's a lot of people raising hell about the questions, one way or another. And I think what we tried to do is take both sides, everybody's perspective and input, and we got it down to what we thought was a bare minimum to make sure. Now, keep in mind, Jay, if we shorten it, we're trying to provide y'all with as much information as possible. We as a group thought that this was the perfect length of it. We covered the necessary topics, and we got it to where we think the survey can be done in 15 minutes. And we felt like 15 minutes of your time to have input for the city council and where the city goes is sufficient.
Yeah, so Linda asked if there's going to be a deadline. So I think that y'all said 6 weeks was what you were going to kind of look at. But again, until we decide to go forward and we get a contract and then we get deadline and deliverables, it's kind of a, you hope to have the survey on X date and then you back the dates backwards. So.
And this is not traceable back to anybody.
That's correct.
Because I can just see.
Nope.
I can see what's going to happen.
Nope. And there is, I think at the end, there is a comment I think y'all decided to put one large text block at the end for someone to put all their feedback, in a paragraph format, which I think will be really helpful for all of us.
And we as council members have a copy, but it should stay with us.
Please use your microphone, sir.
It's funny.
Okay, I said, we as council members have a copy of the survey. It stays with us until it's put out. Is that correct?
This is an open
Well,
meeting.
I mean,
Am I going to go out here and show it to these people?
well, I mean, here's the thing. It's now public record. All it takes is an
Yeah,
open
it's
record
public
request.
record.
Okay,
I
that's
mean,
fine.
look, I don't think the CAG is operating under any sort of hiding anything.
Right. I didn't
I know
mean
you didn't mean it,
No.
but I mean, I don't. I think we're really trying to get to where us
Right.
as
Right.
a council have got something concrete we can
Right.
do something with,
I
or
agree.
do nothing with if
I agree.
if the answers are such that they are.
I agree. I'm good.
And back to the timetable, I think that it does need to be reconsidered, especially now since we have 2 months of runoff leading up. We tried to avoid the election because of all this, and now since Georgia's going to be the focal point, we're going to have 2 months of this stuff. And I think we may need to reconsider. I think January 5th is the runoff date. So I think that, I don't know if we need to have another meeting to determine that and push it back. But I do want this to be a focal point after that. I mean, I know it's a much lesser issue, but I think that for the citizens to make sure that they get the necessary information, I think we need to push it back to after the runoff.
Plus, we also have all the holidays coming up.
Right. Well, and I think it's actually perfect because Red Pepper, who packages and formats the questions, says once contracts signed, they need 6 to 8 weeks to put it together, which means I don't think it would be ready until the first part of January, which is right where I think y'all want it to be. And I agree with you, but I think y'all would probably want to have one more meeting once we get the contract done and then talk about color. Heck, I don't know what y'all want to talk about. We'll figure it out. Any more questions?
So I was just going to say, and I was just going to say thank you for sticking with this, and also I understand putting a group of people in a room trying to come up with something like this is very difficult. So I do appreciate each and one of your time that you put into it. I know I've got some feedback along the way, and I know it wasn't an easy road. So thank you very much.
Good job. It wasn't too difficult because you guys did a great job and you communicated and you, very good. Very good job, folks.
Does anybody have any feeling? I'm sorry.
I had a question about, Greg mentioned that if you want to take half the survey. Is that going to disqualify their responses if they only take half the survey and hit submit?
No, I don't think so.
I think that's an important thing to know.
So what'll happen is, you know how if you go to a web page and you kind of partially like a test, like if you're taking an online test and you close out the browser and you go back in and you still have the frame, it'll bring you to your last test question that you answered. That's kind of that, from what I understand technically, that's how this will be. But if on January 15th, just for an example, that's the date that drop dead for the survey, your questions that were put in until that date drop in, and then anything else just doesn't get an answer.
If you answer half of it and never go back in, eventually those
That half will be captured.
drop
That's right.
into the bucket.
That's right. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Although we're not.
We need to go back to the economic.
Okay. I'll go back to it.
And is Qualtrics and Red Pepper the only companies y'all looked at, or did y'all talk to other companies?
I went through and looked at probably 6 or 8 different companies. Red Pepper has a very good marketing reputation. Some of the issues, so the reason I landed on Qualtrics, and I think we looked at 2 or 3 in CAD, but as a function, we don't need a very difficult survey. There's some surveys that if you answer that you like blue something, then it starts targeting your future questions to get more about the blue thing you want. So it's like a I don't remember the technical term, but there's like a roadmap for the questions. The only technical piece that we needed was to be able to have a token, which was either the voter number or the utility number. And this was 60%, 70% cheaper than everything else, and we didn't have to pay per response. So.
Okay. I mean, my final thoughts are, one is I'd like to make sure we can find every possible grant to pay for it.
Okay.
And two is I'm really concerned about people voting over their allotted amount, but the two different ways. And I don't want to look back on this and say, well, it happened. Hopefully it won't, because it's kind of like the honor system. But if it does, then I feel like we would have stumped our toe on it. So that's my concerns.
Okay. And I'll welcome any idea you've got to keep that from happening. I think we kind of went through it, and I don't know of a way to limit that.
Yeah, I know the data can be scrubbed and crossed over and looked at, but like you said, it's going to cost a lot more money to do that.
I'll ask the question. I'll just say, hey, if we wanted to scrub, if Paul and if the three of you, if that's something you want me to do, then I will ask them about a price for scrubbing the data and crossing the list.
Well, the problem too with that is you will have multiple names. So if you have a business that, your utility bills in the business name, and you have your voter ID at your house, and I don't know how, unless you run the business through the Secretary of State to find out who the owners are. I mean, how would you identify that? Because, I mean, that would happen in my situation.
Right.
So
me too.
I don't know, but we took the best approach because we thought about a lot of these different avenues. And, I mean, just like I think one of y'all mentioned about looking up your voter ID. Well, I mean, if somebody's going to look up their voter ID and use their utility to vote, I mean, I don't know.
Well, and if the survey results come out and a lot of citizens say, well, it didn't fall in my favor, so therefore it's because the survey was rigged or whatever. There was too many people voting or voting twice. So I just think that kind of opens the door a little bit.
Not having any opinion at all. I mean, at least you have some of the citizens, at least you can gauge it. And I really don't think out of the people, I mean, I don't think that you're going to have a lot of people who go through the trouble of pulling up their voter ID. And I mean, you would only have a duplicate because you would have the voter ID, right? And then the utility bill. So the utility bill would only count for one. It's not like if you have a household of 4 voters, you would have 4 voter IDs and 1 utility bill. So it would, you're talking 80% accurate. I mean, I think that's.
And I think the CAG looked at only doing voters, let's say, right? But it stripped out a good group of the population that eliminating one of the two strips out a good portion of your feedback was, I think, the concern.
Yeah, no, this is good. I wish we had done this before.
One last thing.
And again, just one last thing to Rita, Greg, and Paul, thank y'all, and everybody else in the committee for spending your time doing this.
Jay,
Yeah, what kind of reporting? Do you know what kind of reporting?
It's
Analytics,
supposed to be beautiful graphs and I mean, like,
serious.
no, dude, I'm an Excel girl. No, I promise. I'm like, no, I mean, it's supposed to be like, I'm you know me, I'm a data girl.
How long the average person did on a survey? How long,
all kinds of metrics like that. Yeah, I mean, it's supposed to be top.
And open it up for everybody to see.
Yeah, and I mean, like, yeah, and that's the other thing. I think the CAG decided once the council gets the results, I mean, we're going to publish it so everybody can see it.
And
yeah.
We were trying to be transparent and make sure that it worked. There's no hidden agenda. We just want the citizens to vote and figure out who y'all look at.
That's why I put you on that committee, man. Now, I will say in fairness, what Lisa said is exactly right. I think I can't speak for everybody up here, but thank you all for your time and energy and everything you did put into it. I may not have liked the whole origin of this group, but it's not towards y'all. It's just because I don't like some of the stuff that happened up here that led to it, especially in the middle of a pandemic and blah, 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 where we are now, right? But thank you very much for that.
Paul, I'm a little disappointed. I hope the rest of the members of this committee will be here Thursday night. That kind of tells me that maybe they're not as supportive of this. I don't know. I mean, you've got 3 here, but where's the rest of them?
I think that's why they voted Paul as.
I don't agree with that.
Huh?
I don't agree with that statement.
Well, that's okay. That's my statement. You don't have to agree with it. I'm just saying Thursday night. I mean, they just need to participate, or maybe questions. I don't know.
We will send out an email
Okay.
to the group and say, if all possible. I know someone was out of town, things happen, life happens. I'm just glad at least the 3 of us showed up, and I wouldn't have to be up by myself. That would not be good. But we will try our best to have everyone here. And I can assure you we are unified.
Okay.
The majority of every action we took was unanimous. We had a couple of times that it wasn't.
Well, that's normal.
That's fair. We had some disagreements, as Greg said, and we worked our way through it. And but I think the consensus is we are all for it. We are endorsing it, and what we are proposing is what we feel.
Did the majority of the committee always come to the meetings?
Yes. We would always have at least 4 of the, how many do we have, 7?
7.
Yeah.
I don't know why it'd be necessary for them to be here tonight.
It's not necessary. I just know there's some vocal people on this group that.
Yeah, absolutely. Some of them are pissed off with the way things went, just in general, and they've removed themselves from some of the,
Discussions or whatever.
Yeah, but I think as a group, I think I agree with Paul. Yeah, we did go back and forth, but at the end of the day, I think that we had multiple iterations of the final survey, and there were things that, go in and out. And I think what you'll find is, at the end of the day, y'all will know if the citizens want 300, 900, 1,500 apartments, and you won't have to guess. There won't be anything done in the dark of the night. It'll be open and transparent for everybody to see the results, and then y'all can have them. And if y'all choose to go a different route, then you know what? That's on y'all.
Yeah, y'all don't get me wrong. I'm not against this. I think it's a good deal. I think it's a good thing. At least we figure out what the citizens of the city want. So.
Any other questions? Does anybody have a feeling about option 1 or 2? I think 1 is perfectly adequate.
Option 1 sounds good to me. Option 1 sounds good to me.
Do you want to consent or vote on Thursday?
We'll vote on Thursday.
Perfect.
Yeah, let's
That's all. Any other questions about the CAG? All right, then I have to, sorry.
Can we, if we need to, because I haven't read the questions, I've glanced at them, but can we at least maybe, if necessary, talk about any that pop up, like how like that, or can we just?
I would say if you have any questions to email Paul.
Okay. Okay, that's good enough.
Okay, and then Tim kind of did a stage hook on me. I did something I shouldn't have done, I guess, with the real estate, so we got to go back to that. Hold on just a minute. Go ahead. What'd I do?
Yes, we need to go back to the economic incentive request right quick. Under the permit part of the request, the total reimbursement would be $6,743.75. Under the capital recovery reimbursement, the total would be $2,928.37 with a total reimbursement of $9,672.12.
All right, so I'd like to change the consent, Christie, to that amount being $96,72.12. Is that all I needed to? Okay, thanks. Sorry, Tim. And if nobody has any questions, Mr. Mayor, that's the end of my, thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, coming down to public safety, Chairman Jay Bowles.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to call up Chief Mike McHugh to go over tonight's agenda items. The first one, we'll do this together, okay?
All right.
The helmet and face shields purchases, we had a great story here. David Sparks runs the Back to Blue car show, and they donated $11,150 to be used to purchase any needed equipment for our officers. $11,150. Is that incredible or what?
Yeah, that's
So
right.
David Sparks is going to join us Thursday night because I think we definitely need to recognize that incredible contribution. So do you want to go into the face shields and real quick?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Boland and Mayor and members of the council. This first purchase is for protective helmets with everything that's been going on with the civil unrest and everything. There's been numerous cases of officers getting hit in the head with bricks and rocks and frozen water bottles and everything you can imagine. And I hope to God we never have to use them, but it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. So we would like to ask that we be able to use that donated money for the purchase of these ballistic helmets and face shields.
The total cost is $13,472. The extra $2,322 that's from the drug dealers.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Yes, sir. And that would include the helmets and the face shields, and that price does include the freight cost to have them shipped. They're kind of heavy, so. But you are correct on the total. It's $13,472.
So I'd like to make a motion. We put that on consent. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Chief, are we getting one for each officer?
Each person will have one. Each certified person will have one.
Okay.
Any other questions? Audience have anything? Good. Council, can we put this on the consent agenda? Sure. Good.
Yep.
Everybody
Yes.
good? All right. The next item is some police cars. Go ahead, Mike.
As you just said, it's for the purchase of 3 police vehicles. As you know, last year we ordered vehicles, and believe it or not, we just picked them up last week. And we don't want to get in that kind of crunch again. And from our contact with the dealer, there's only going to be a short window for ordering. I don't know what the reason for that is, but these are state contract prices. Each vehicle is $25,113 each, and the cost of equipment is $37,0980 each, with the video camera system $4820 each, and the radar units are $1699.50 each.
Sorry, Chief. We always use Dana, right?
Yes, Dana.
All these are very familiar vendors.
Yes, we've been using them for several years, and we've had great service. Not only their installs, but if there's anything that happens with it, they have made their work good. So we've had better luck with them than anybody. But the grand total for the for the cars, the equipment, emergency equipment, and the video equipment and lettering and everything comes to a total of $107,903.31, and that will come out of the SPLOST that's set aside for that purpose.
Now, Danny Roberts, I see it says 2019 Walton County SPLOST. You want to explain that to everybody, just in case? Do you need to?
So this is the 2019 SPLOST that started in 2019. We have a little over 40% earmarked for public safety. Currently, the police is beating the fire department with ordering stuff. So this is coming out of the 1% sales tax that everybody that comes to Walton County that buys something goes for us, and we're using it for police car purchases. So any questions?
I have one unrelated to this. The SPLOST just failed. Do you have any thoughts or feedback on that?
The T-SPLOST failed. That was the transportation SPLOST that was going to add another cent to Walton County, make us 8% sales tax. I believe last time I looked, it was 740 votes it failed by. That was going to produce a little over $5 million projected for City of Loganville that can only be used for transportation. So we had a couple intersections and paving we were going to do, but now we won't. So
when the citizens complain, we can say you didn't vote for it, right?
Yeah. Well, the cities cannot tell you how to vote. We can just tell you what the money would be used for if we get it. So, I voted for it. So
You did.
Okay.
Danny, on Thursday, I know some citizens had questions about every time the SPLOST passes within the last 10 years, what hasn't gone to, it seems like. So on Thursday, I got some information what some of our SPLOS has gone to in the previous years. For example, that park, Destination Park, that was Gwinnett. You know, if you guys enjoy that park, Destination Park, SPLOS paid for that. It wasn't your property taxes. So little things like that helps out.
Yeah.
But I'm going to talk about it on Thursday, what some of the major projects that we have used SPLOS for, to let people know that it's a very important.
People just don't realize how huge SPLOS is, because without it, I mean, I know everybody complains about their taxes being high, but I mean, we built Station 3 when I was the fire chief out of SPLOS. We bought the fire truck out of SPLOS. We're about to buy another fire truck in the next couple of years out of SPLOS. I'm talking $1 million fire truck. The water tower on Randy Road, that was almost $2 million. That was SPLOS. Without it, we just wouldn't have it. It was because taxes only, you know, I mean, a lot of people complain about taxes, about paying too much, but your taxes only pay 45% of the total budget. You don't even cover police and fire's budget. We only collect $5 million, and their budget alone is $6 million. So SPLOS is a great thing. We wouldn't do 50% of what we do now. And we're about to talk about more SPLOS under.
Hey, Danny, when does another SPLOS come up to vote for?
On the T-SPLOS, I believe they have to wait a year. But as you all know, cities cannot call for SPLOS. It's a county tax. The county has to call for it. It has to be on a referendum. It has to be voted on. So currently in both counties that we're in, Gwinnett County started in 17. It ends March of 2023. And Walton started in 19 and ends December of 2024. So next one, hopefully we'll start. Typically we start those 2 years where they end. So if I'm not working on a SPLOS, I'm planning a SPLOS.
Thank you, Danny.
And just to give you another update, Chief Johnson's not here, but the fire truck that broke down side of the road several months ago, I asked Christy to check with our insurance company. It was over $32,000, Christy, for the repairs, and the insurance company will cover those repairs.
Oh, yeah.
So it is being currently worked on as we speak at where we bought it from. So that's the truck we'll probably start replacing in the next year or so.
Okay. Thank you, Dan Roberts. I'd like to put that on consent. We good?
Consent, good.
Excellent. Thank you, man.
All right, coming down to public utilities / transportation, Chairman Bildebal.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So last Thursday, November 5th, we did have a Public Utilities Transportation Committee meeting, and we discussed some of the water sewer service to Destination Park and properties on Long Tuck Road. We'll talk about that a little bit further down in the agenda. We'll start off with the Route 16 IGA, Gwinnett County. Danny's been working to our intergovernmental agreement with Gwinnett County will expire at the end of December 30 of 2021. And Danny's worked with them and the mayor to work with Gwinnett County to get another 25 years out of it. So you want to go ahead and explain, Danny?
Yeah, so I would start off with asking not to be on consent because Chairwoman Nash will be here Thursday. I think it's important that we recognize her effort because she's the one that started this with the former city manager, Bill Jones. We were losing hundreds of thousands of dollars every year by not being able to. If you remember earlier, I talked about sewer and water. You got to control the water to control the sewer. On the Gwinnett side of Loganville, off of Loganville, those subdivisions on the right side, we provide the sewer. Gwinnett County provides the water. So the customer was getting a water bill and a sewer bill. Well, if they didn't pay their sewer bill, there's no way that we can cut off sewer. It's not metered. It's based on your consumption of water. So in 2011, the city went to the county and asked them to be able to bill the Gwinnett County customers from Loganville. So we swapped out our meters, which was also a SPLOS-funded project because you were replacing 480-something meters at $250 a pop. So now we bill Gwinnett County's customers for them. So if they don't pay their water bill, we can turn it off. We have that authority through Gwinnett County. So this agreement allows us to do that. Currently there's 41 customers, I believe, on that contract. You have the new agreement that came literally today. Robin has approved this contract. She is on Zoom in case y'all have questions for her. So I would ask that we approve this Thursday night when Chairwoman Nash is here. Any questions about Route 16?
Any questions from the council? Okay.
Audience? Okay.
Audience?
Brandon, you want to add anything to that?
All right, we'll move on. So also, Danny's going to talk about the Walton County water rates.
So we started working with Walton County when we started the Claude Brewer expansion for another water line. That contract ends in 2021 as well. We reached out to, as you know, Chairman Little did not seek another term, so we have a new chairman coming in. I would like to get this done currently with Kevin. They have told us through several meetings that the rates will go up. The water rates from Walton County has not been up the last two contracts I know of. It's currently still the same. So I would like to have approval from y'all to negotiate the water rates. I would like to keep the current rate until 2021, and then January of 2022, we would go to $2.97 per thousand and stay at that rate the length of contract. So that's what Walton County has presented to me so far. And I would also ask Chairman Little today to extend the contract from 5 years to 10 years. Now, they may come back and say no, but at least I need the starting point.
How much is the rate now, Danny? Yeah.
263, I believe.
Go up to 291.
Mm-hmm. 296, I believe. That's what they're requesting. I believe year 5 it went up again. I believe. Look on the page, but yes.
So, Bill, you want to wait? You want to wait till Thursday to give or consent or what?
No, we can get consent tonight if we like.
Yeah, we're just negotiating.
It's just negotiating.
We do have a contract.
So
that Robin and the county's attorney.
Consent.
Consent.
All right, thank you. All right, so let's see. I'm skipping ahead. The 2020 CBDG paving project, we've got a balance of $96,127 remaining from the Pecan Street CDBG project, and they want to go ahead and use those funds to pave Line Street. Any questions or comments on that? That's what Brandon proposed. I'm good with that. Consent?
Consent.
Good deal.
Got it. Thank you.
Let's see, we got the 2019 to 2020 paving project where we have some streets that we're going to be paving. Danny, you want to explain?
So we approved this back in 2019, or I say y'all approved us to spend the funds. We combined 19 and 20's LMIG to get more streets. If you remember, in 2019, we sent out the bid. The bid came in higher than we had the money, so we decided to combine this year's and last year's. That was also the same time that the mayor and I were negotiating with Walton County about them paving our streets. When I say them, the Walton County paving our streets, we would save on labor, but we still had to buy the material. So tonight, we're trying to get some concrete dates from Walton County. They told us it was going to be today. Now it's tomorrow. Now it's Cleese shaking his head next week. Tentatively next week. This has been a very, Cleese will tell you something different. I'll say complex. Working with Walton County, working with 4 vendors when we typically just work with 1, but we are saving a ton of money. We're able to pave more roads, but it has hiccups. Some of the roads that we approved were on the Gwinnett side, which Walton County will not pave on the Gwinnett side. So we'll just hold those until next year, and then we'll probably have to hire a contractor to come in and pave the Gwinnett roads, because those roads have been approved, and we do have to do those roads with the state of Georgia. This is a grant. LMIG is Local Maintenance Improvement Grant. You have the roads. We'll be talking about 2021 LMIG also next. I believe it's the next item. So this is just a housekeeping item for me, in case the auditor wants to see where I approve the asphalt versus approving the contractor. So they wrote a PO this week for $90,000 for asphalt. And then, of course, Walton County and the city of Loganville will haul the asphalt to Walton County to lay. And hopefully we're going to start in Missionary Ridge next week, weather permitting. So I know a lot of y'all get phone calls. Why didn't we notify citizens? It's so hard to say when we're going to start when we don't really have that good of control over Walton County because they're a government just like us. So they're not a contractor. So we're at their mercy, but we are saving probably close to $80,000 in mobilization costs from our contractor that we are now turning around and putting it back for more paving.
Yeah,
we was able to do Terra, do a lot of milling and patching because money we had over on that.
And that's what I mean, one of the things that I've really enjoyed coming in here and seeing what you can do. I mean, if you have to go out and put this out into a contract and hire a contractor, there's a lot additional cost involved. I like the partnership that you're doing with Walton County and here we're just purchasing materials for them to pave. So that's real good work. But so is this something we need to put on consent, Danny?
Yeah, I would just ask for consent, just, proving that.
I asked that for you.
Because when we approved it last time, we didn't know that Walton County was going to be paving for us. We were still in the SDS negotiation right now. A week ago, they said it would be next year before they can pave. Well, now they came back last week and said, we're going to pave tomorrow. And then Cleese gets frustrated with me sometimes. But we save money, though.
Everybody good with consent?
Good job of making carbon.
All right.
Consent. Yeah, Danny, this was some of the stuff that we negotiated with SDS.
Yeah, 18 months worth.
Huh?
It was about 18 months we did.
About 18 months. They provide the equipment, we provide the materials and stuff like that. So good partnership.
Sure, thank you.
It is under consent, correct?
Good. Yes. The next thing is the 2021 LMIG application. So, this is our resolution we have to leverage our funds, 30% of the funds that we would get from GDOT. So it's $128,845 that we would get from LMIG if we match it with the $38,653. This again goes to street improvements. And I think that's all we need to say about that. Anything else, Danny?
Yeah, for the public, the roads that we're looking to pave, Camp Street, Chandler Hawk Road. Now, these are portions, not the entire road, because it's extremely expensive to pave a whole road. Cross Street, C.S. Floyd, Grant Lane, Playmore Lane, Rockingham Drive, Stonecrest Drive, Tommy Lee Fuller Drive, and then, of course, another section of Tommy Lee Fuller. Now, before we get questions about why those roads are not traveled, we have because it gets very political for me to pave a certain road. As you can imagine, different people call y'all tell me I need my road paved. Well, to take politics out of it, we surveyed every mile in the city of Loganville. We have it in the software that Highways and Streets use, and it tells us every road, every foot of that road, what we should do to get longevity out of that road. And it's a list. It grades it from.
It's got a grading system. It's got about points. The grading system goes by points. It don't go by A, B, C, or D.
Please.
And what it does is we go out every Monday foot and grade a road. Me and my crew do. We went through the whole city and graded every road we have. And once we graded those roads, it comes up into that system. Well, it also tells me whether it needs to be a slurry seal, a thin overlay, a thick overlay, or total rehabilitation. And I also put in a budget scenario of what I got from my LMIG money, how much money I know. And it puts me in, it gives me those best scenarios to what the most bang for my buck is. It takes everything out of it that somebody calls me and wants a road paved. I don't have to worry about it because I know what I've got over here. It's got to be done to make my PCA level go up. So that it just takes, like Dennis, it takes politics out of it. It takes human error out of it. Once we went in and put the prices in of the going prices, you can update the going prices. Once we put all those in and put it in, it just spits out a budget and tells me where I need to pay.
So, in Cletus, how many cycles of data have you collected?
This will be when we did it first time, it was 3 years. So we are now starting a new cycle of data. It works every 3 years, but you don't grade every road in the city every year. You grade a percentage of those roads a year. And it also deteriorates from those roads from when I graded it 3 years ago. So the grade level on that road that I graded 3 years ago is deteriorated to what they thought it should be. You know, what it takes out that. But every 3 years you do a 10%, or I think it's 15% of your road systems. In the city, we've got 57 miles of roads that are city streets, not counting the state routes.
And Georgia DOT uses a rating called PACES. It's very similar system, but the beauty of having a system and rating it on a continual basis is you get to see how things are changing and get to build better budgets over time. So I'm pleased to see that they're using a data-driven approach. It's certainly proven to work. GDOT had worked for years trying to get things down to a 10-year cycle. Looking at the meeting with Cletus and Danny, there's no way we can do a 10-year cycle. Just there's not enough money in the city to do that. But it helps to prioritize so that we can do the right roads and fix those so we don't so we stay on top of it. But anyway, we're talking about the LMIG and that future money for 2021. So.
And then I'll just cap it off with the public. It's not going to be, all the roads won't be a resurface as new asphalt. It will be slurry seal, which is, I call it paint, but it's proven to get 5 more years out of the road, because after all, we only put $300,000 of the general fund towards street improvement. And you can only, out of $300,000, you might be able to pave maybe a mile, if that. So it's extremely expensive. Yes, Melanie.
I was just gonna ask, it looked like there were street counters down on some of the side roads, like my street. It looked like there was a traffic counter down. Is that part of
No,
this?
that was, we had a complaint about speeders. So speeders, people speeding on that Covington Street. So what this is, it's a radar gun that measures, it counts the cars and it tells us the speed. It's the first thing that we do to see if, say, you wanted a speed humps on that road. That's the first thing we do to make sure it meets the criteria of the National Institute for Roads. I forgot the acronym they use. But we use that to tell us if there are cars speeding, and it gives law enforcement.
They are, and they're running the stop signs.
Yes, so we wrote, I believe, they're here, but they wrote 17 citations, and the lady was very upset that we have speeding tickets. Well, there's a whole law they have to follow, just writing speed. It has to be line of sight. They can't be hidden. And that they explained this to the lady, and I'm not sure if she liked it or not, but that's the law that these guys have to follow. But on that particular road, it counted 497 cars, and less than 1% was speeding. The average speed was 25 miles an hour or 27 miles an hour. But that's what that is. So when citizens call and complain about speed, or hey, we want to speed humps, we put that counter out and see if it justifies.
Okay, I thought it might have something to do with the traffic about.
No, it counts cars and tells us the speed.
Okay.
Thank you. Any other questions?
I just have a comment. Thank y'all for paving Baker Carter. And go down there.
Yeah,
I know, but it's a whole lot better than it was. Thank you.
All right, so 2021 LMIG consent. Everyone?
Consent.
All right, thank you. All right, so moving on to Destination Park. So the meeting we had Thursday was to talk about the Destination Park. You all know that we're working to make improvements down there, and Danny's got plans to add improvements to the park. That's not part of this. It's also to build, which will incorporate bathrooms, facilities, and water. But to do that, we've got to get water and sewer to the park. So there was a proposal that they were working with the properties across the street, Mark Stryford's property, and in order to do that, it was going to cost us like $1.2 million. To put in water and sewer to hit both those 7-8 properties as well as Destination Park. But what we need to do is we need to go and do this $200,000. We've got a proposal. It's in your packet. we'll put a service, water and sewer to Destination Park so that we can get those other projects going to get the sidewalks and get the parks upgraded. And then if there's water and sewer that needs to be worked out with those other properties, that'll have to be worked out some other time. Any other, what do you think, Ann, Lisa, you all there? Any other questions or comments?
Yeah, what was staff recommendation on that?
Staff recommendation, engineer's recommendation is go the $200,000 route just for the public that wasn't here last week. We had a committee meeting. We knew that the area of Tuck Road was going to be developed from Mark Stryford. Eastside Towing was looking to build a new building. So we looked at, we need a water and sewer. What would be the probability of running water and sewer down Tuck Road to also help them, but see if they would be willing to pay their share of it. It's a full-fledged sewer pump station. The one that we're talking about, the $200,000, is just for the park. It's a smaller pump station that only services the park. It has no room for growth. So that was the issue. So after meeting with Mark for a year or so, he can only contribute $150,000 towards $1.2 million, and it's just I couldn't sell that to the city council with that type of money. And then we had another issue of using SPLOST funds from Gwinnett in Washington County, which I was unable to get a clear answer from Gwinnett County. So that made me a little gun shy, because the last thing I want to do is spend the money, then tell me that I have to pay it back. As we just don't have $1 million in enterprise to be spending on this. So
and that estimate didn't include impacts if there's rock, which we
did not include. That was just so Mark asked if he could just provide water, not sewer, and that's some come to y'all a later date. I cannot answer that question. That has to be a council approval. So, but to get this park moving, we cannot do anything until we get utilities in the ground, because the last thing we want to do is put sidewalks in and then come in and tear up the sidewalks. So we want to put the water and sewer in first, and then do the sidewalks, and then start the actual building of the bathroom and the upgrading the park. But this is first.
Any other?
And this is SPLOST money, right, Chairman?
Correct.
This is coming out of 2017 Gwinnett County SPLOST, yes. Chrissy, can you add that to the agenda for Thursday, 2017?
So, any other questions? Any questions or comments from the audience? So, can we put that on consent? And
I think that because the chairman is coming Thursday, I think this would be something that we could brag about being in Gwinnett County.
Alrighty.
And we're also getting a joint project out of Gwinnett too on this for the public. So Gwinnett County is using their SPLOST money to upgrade our park as well for the restrooms and shade structures, I believe.
All right, good. And we had a water main break. Danny or Brandon? Huh? Sewer. Excuse me. Sewer main break. That's even worse. Sewer main break, which is this emergency repair. Danny, you want to add, or Brandon?
Yeah. So this happened last week, Brandon. 2 weeks ago. Was it the storm? Yeah. So we have a force main that runs across a creek. It has a pillars that hold up the external pipe that's above ground, and the pillars were washed away and the pipe separated, and we spilt about 5,200 gallons of sewer, which was reported to EPD. It's an accident. It happens. But we have it temporarily fixed for now. But to fix it correctly, it's what we submitted for the emergency repair of 30, I don't have it in front of me.
34,500.
And that is the lowest bidder. We had 3 bids, ranging from that to 55,000. So can he start immediately? 2 weeks. So we've used this contractor on other force mains and other gravity sewers, so he'll be here within 2 weeks. It's an item that we have to repair. It's not a question. It's just, we're just giving y'all the warm fuzzy feeling like you got to vote on it.
Yeah.
Where was this at?
Ma'am.
Where was it at? Where was this
A
located?
Chandler Hawk pump station, behind Chandler Hawk pump station. So it comes out of the pump station and goes to the plant. It's even
Consent?
worse because it's under pressure.
All right. Well, we'll put it on consent. Thank you.
All
And I guess the last thing I have, Mr. Mayor, is just, I know you're still pushing to get our transportation study underway. You contacted ARC and they're working at just an update. So thank you. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And I have no other comments.
Thank you, Chairman Bill Duvall. Public Works / Facilities, Linda Dodd.
Well, Mayor, everybody else had a lot to say, and I have nothing to say.
Love it. Easy. All right, Human Resources, Chairman Danny Ford.
I got one thing, Mr. Mayor. Turn on my mic here. It's the readoption of the Certified City of Ethics designation, and I'm going to read it. And then when I get through reading it, I'm going to pass it to each council member and have them to sign it if they will. Okay?
Thursday.
And this Thursday.
After you
Right.
approve it. It's a resolution, yes.
Well, I've already signed it, so I'm good. Whereas the Board of Directors of the Georgia Municipal Association has established a certified city ethics program, and whereas the city of Loganville was originally certified as a certified city ethics under the GMA program in 2001, and whereas part of the certification process requires the mayor and council to subscribe to the ethics principles approved by the Georgia Municipal Association Board. Now, therefore, it be resolved by the governing authority of the city of Loganville, Georgia, that a group and as individuals, the governing authority describes to the following ethics principles and pledges to conduct its affairs accordingly. To serve others, not ourselves. Use resources with efficiency and economy. Treat all people fairly. Use the power of our position for the well-being of our constituents. Create an environment of honesty, openness, and integrity. And it'll be as of the resolved this 12th day of November 2020, which will be Thursday. And then at that point, we'll vote on it, I guess, and then everybody needs to sign it. Okay?
Great.
That's all I have.
Thank you. City Manager Report, Danny. Robert.
I have no actionable items, but we will be going to executive session tonight.
Okay.
To discuss a legal matter.
Tonight?
Yep. All right, City Attorney's Report. None?
She's joining us by Zoom, but she has nothing. Hers were in the committee report.
All right, before I dismiss, I'm just going to say a couple things real quick. On Wednesday, Veterans Day, all right, you want to be here, right? 11 o'clock, 11 at the Post 233. We're going to have our annual in-person. I don't believe in honoring our veterans virtually. I don't know how we do that, but Gwinnett County's doing it and some other cities are doing it. I have no idea how you do that. But we will be having it in person. We do have our congressman coming, Jody Heiss, and we got a great speaker, our general and insurance commissioner, John King. John King's going to be our great speaker, so come out and see us for that. And, of course, like Danny said earlier, we're going to be honoring our chairman, Charlotte Nash, on Thursday. With that being said,
Do you have anybody else showing up Thursday? Don't you have the sheriff coming?
the sheriff,
Gwinnett County Sheriff?
Gwinnett County Sheriff lost.
No,
So,
no, the new guy. Is he coming in?
no, he's not coming in.
Okay.
No. Mr. Lou Solis, by the way, he was here the other day. He lost. So that's all I got. I got the chairman coming. Oh, and the new Mr. Nicole Love Henderson. She is the new upcoming chairman for Gwinnett County. So she'll be here. So if you have any questions for her. With that being said, I'm going to make a motion to get out of regular meeting and go into executive session.
So move.
All right, we have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. So all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Post like sign. Motion passes. Thank you.
move that we go